So, good morning. Welcome to online video lecture for the subject electrical machines 2. And the topic I would like to discuss today is starting and speed control of induction motors. Okay. So, coming to the starting of an induction motor, the high inertia loads put a strain on induction motors because they prolong the starting period. So before that, we must know that what is the working. I mean, what are the construction details of the induction motors? So how the rotating magnetic field is developed there. So how this electrical power is converted to the mechanical power. Okay, so that is the ultimate objective of this induction motors. Okay, so and finally these mechanical loads are connected to the induction motor, that is well known to us. Okay, so the main advantage of this three-phase induction motor is that 1 second. Okay, so that is the case there. It has a high starting torque, okay, when compared with the single phase induction motor. So coming to the single phase induction motor, it has a low starting torque, but in case of three phase induction motor, it has a high starting torque. So that because of those advantage, we are connecting the high inertia loads. So inertia loads in the sense, because all the loads cannot be connected to the different types of motors there. So if we want to run the loads which is of high inertia there, we can obviously prefer this induction motor, and that is the that is why we prefer these three phase induction motors instead of the DC series motors there in some of the applications. Okay, so that is the situation here. Next, the starting current in both the stator and rotor is high due to this interval, so that overheating becomes a major problem. See, since it has a high starting torque, so obviously there may be chance of rise of current. Okay, so if a major load is connected to the load, I mean, sorry, if a major load is connected to the motor, okay, so we need to draw the, I mean, we need to run the motor in rated speed, right? So if you want to run the motor at 1500 rpm, okay, so from the starting itself, it has to reach the rated speed at a very short period of time. Okay, so in that manner, so during this process, there may be chance of rise of currents. Okay, so in this process, there may be chance of overheating. So obviously we know, in order to reach the rated speed, so the motor starts it produces some heat because of the internal resistance there, because it draws the current. It is applicable both for the stator and rotor. So as we have seen the losses that is in which exist in stator part and the rotor part. Okay, so there exists the copper losses as well as the core losses in stator, and coming to the rotor, there we have observed the copper losses. Okay, since this I mean, which is appeared at the rotor side. Okay, so this we have discussed in the power stages in the induction motors. Okay, so we need to recall those things. Next, for motors of several thousand horsepower, so transmission line feeding the plant where the motor is installed, the line voltage may fall below the normal for many seconds, thus affecting other connected loads. See, suppose if we are preferring a high horsepower or a high rating motors, okay, so especially we go for industries there. So this is also a well-known thing, and especially in industrial applications, we prefer the induction motors, so which is of high ratings. Okay, so what is the main drawback of this? Okay, so let us consider the generating unit itself. So if we consider just for example, if we consider a generating plants, so different units will be there generating the power. Okay, of course those are the generators. Just for analysis, we are taking this as an example. Okay, so if we want to very short period of time, we have to bring to the stability there. So that is the main concept. Okay, so how can we define the stability? In the sense, in coming to the induction motor, we have to make sure that the voltage should be constant there, input. Okay, and the frequency at the input side, these two should be constant. So then only we can expect a healthy operation in an induction motor. Okay, so coming to the rotor side, it has to run at rated speed, so that it can run at a maximum torque conditions. Okay, so if the loads are connected, okay, so if the loads, in the sense, if the major loads are connected, major loads in the sense high inertia loads, Okay, so what is the main drawback there? It fails to reach the rated speed. Okay, so the main purpose of the motor itself, I mean the main purpose of the placing the motor itself is to reach the I mean to run at the rated speed. Okay, so in this process, okay, so during the reaching of the rated speed, so the motor has some losses. Okay, so we need to analyze that. So if there are major losses, what happens? The motor can never I mean there may be chance of voltage drop. Okay, so let us consider in our household appliances, the major loads are there. That means ACs, different types of ACs will be there. See, I mean, induction motors are there. That is, ceiling fans are there. Refrigerators, grinders, mixers, ovens. I mean, washing machines. So different loads, if you consider, if we are keep on loading the line, okay. So that means if you are using all the loads at a time, so there may be chance of reduce of voltage. Okay, the voltage cannot be maintained constant there. So being since all the major loads are inductive loads, okay, so that is one of the main drawback. If we consider the same situation in case of the power system, I mean in the transmission line, which is feeding the all the different high rated motors. So what happens because of the loading effect, uh, the voltage levels may fall down because the main thing and the fundamental thing we need to think about that the voltage and frequency should be constant anywhere in the power system. If you consider, voltage and frequency should be constant there. If these two are deviated, okay, or if these two parameters are diverted, obviously entire system may get collapsed there. Okay, so there may be changes in the system parameters. It leads to abnormal operations. So either there may be rise of losses, there may be change in frequency. Okay, so the motor, there may be a noise in the motors. Okay, and the span of the coil gets reduced, efficiency gets affected. Okay, so the motor speed gets changed. Especially in industries, there should be a constant speed there. Okay, so if there are any change in the speed, obviously it leads to major effect on the plant. Okay, so that's why they take the frequency as the feedback element. Okay, so let us not going to detail of those things. It comes under the drives. Okay, next, to relieve the problem, so that is what is the problem there. So falling of the voltage below the rated value. So induction motors are often started on reduced voltage. So in order to avoid this drawback, so what is the drawback there? So if we keep on loading the induction motors, I mean if we are keep on loading the line, which is of which consists of the induction motors, so there may be chance of low voltages. And to avoid that, so we need to start with a reduced voltage. See, similarly, I think in the machines laboratory also we have performed some of the machines with slowly we are going to start as excitation. Okay, so slowly we are going to excite the machine. So in the similar fashion here also, we need to start the induction motor with some reduced voltage. Okay, so because of this drawback. Next, this limits the power drawn by the motor and consequently reduces line voltage drop as well as the heating rate of the windings. Okay, so with the technique, so what is the technique there? By starting the induction motor with a low voltage supply or with some reduced voltage. So what are the limits in the sense? The power drawn by the motor and the consequently reduces the line voltage drop. So okay, so similarly, I mean compare this thing with our daily use. So suppose in our households, if we are turning on all the loads, if we observe any flickerings or if you observe any dimming in the lighting. Okay, so all these things if you observe means what we are going to do. So we are going to unload the different things. I mean we are going to put off some of the loads and we'll observe if there are because of this loading there may be chance of low voltages, and obviously we are going to I mean put off some of the loads and cross check that. Okay, so if the fault, if there are drawbacks, I mean if there are any changes in the line itself, we can't do anything. So that is from the source end, we can't do any measures. But from our in our internally, we can observe some of the things. Okay, so one second. Let's look at the next thing. So reduced voltage lengthens the startup time, but this is usually not important. Okay, however, whether the startup time is long or short, it is worth remembering the following rule for a motor that is loaded mechanically. So let us see the rule one. What should be the, what should be the criteria? We'll see here. The heat dissipated in the rotor during starting speed, in brackets, zero speed to final rated speed, is equal to the final kinetic energy stored in all the revolving parts. So before going for the, the application, how we can prefer this motor, we need to follow one criteria. What is that? What is the rule one is the heat dissipated in the rotor during the starting speed is equal to the final kinetic energy. So we know that we have analyzed the two conditions there. So one is the zero speed, and what is, and other is the final rated speed. Okay, so zero speed in the sense, the motor is under starting condition. So final rated speed in the sense it have reached the rated parameters. Okay, so because we are going to check the motor whether it is running in whether it is in, whether it has reached the steady state or not, only with the help of the speed. Okay, so through the tachometer or some other devices, we are going to measure the speed whether it is running in rated speed or not. So then only we can start applying the loads to the motor. Okay, so if we consider from zero stage, that is from motor from running condition to the final rated speed. Okay, so the heat dissipated in the rotor is equal to the final kinetic energy stored. So what is the final kinetic energy stored in the sense, because of the motion, so because of the rotor rotation, it starts developing some kinetic energy. Okay, of course, what is the energy levels and all we'll see later, but until reaching its final kinetic energy stored there, so the heat developed should be, we need to consider. Okay, so that we can analyze from zero to final rated speed. Okay, that is rule one if we want to before preferring the motor. So that is one criteria. Next, this rule holds true irrespective of the stator voltage or the torque speed curve of the motor. So that's what I mean. So irrespective of the stator voltage or the torque speed curve. Okay. So I think you know the well known about the torque speed curve. So there we have gone through the what is the relation between the torque and the speed. So in order to reach the rated speed of the rotor, okay. So whatever the happenings in the motor and all, we have gone through this torque speed characteristics. So I'm not going in detail of this torque speed characteristics there. So here it indicates that irrespective of the stator voltage, okay, either it may be a 440 volts or somewhat any other. If we consider a three-phase thing, so either it may be 440 or 415, any variations in the voltage, or irrespective of the previously analyzed torque speed characteristics, this rule is applicable. Okay, whatever may be the rating, okay, whatever may be the torque speed performance, torque speed characteristics, so whatever may be the changes in the voltage, so uh, this rule should be followed there. So what is the rule there? So from reaching zero to final speed, that is a rated speed, the heat dissipated should be equal to the final kinetic energy stored. So that rule should be preferred. Okay, so let us consider let us consider from our household appliances. Okay, so there we are preferring an MCB there. Okay, so for an AC, if you want to protect the AC there, we are preferring an MCB. Okay, or else directly we can connect to the socket there. But if you prefer an MCB, so what is the main criteria of preferring there? If there are any abnormal conditions, this MCB has to be tripped there, and so that the appliances can be protected. Okay, so how can you choose this MCB? So but depending upon the operating voltage and the rated current, so maximum current. If suppose if your AC is drawing on a 10 amps, for example, okay, so up to a 10 amps MCB you can prefer. Okay, so that depends upon the rating. Okay, and we are not bothered about the type of performance there. So we are not bothered about the how the what is the cost of the AC or what is the rating of the AC, and what are the what are the internal components there, what about its efficiency and all. We are not bothered, just we have considered the minor things, so that is the operating voltage and current. So based on this we have preferred the component, that is the MCB there, circuit breaker there. So likewise here also, if you want to prefer a motor, okay, the first rule, it has to there should be the primary thing is that the rule one. So that is the heat dissipation in the machine should be, especially in the rotor, is should have equal kinetic energy. So equal to the final kinetic energy in the sense when it reaches the maximum rated speed, So the maximum energy can be developed in the rotor. Okay, so that we can finalize the total losses in the heat losses, I mean the I square losses in the rotor. So that is the rule. Okay, so next, thus if the motor brings a massive flywheel up to speed, and if the energy stored in the flywheel is less than 5000 joules, the rotor will have dissipated 5000 joules in the form of heat. So that's what it means if the final kinetic energy is 5000 joules there. So again, what is the case means, for this the rotor starts developing the heat up to the 5000 joules. So let us see once again here. The motor brings a massive flywheel. Flywheel in the sense some revolving objects which is connected to the shaft there. Okay, so the energy stored in the flywheel, I mean because of this rotation, it develops the kinetic energy which is of 5000 joules or 5 kilojoules, and the rotor will have dissipated 5000 joules in the form of heat. So in order to develop these kinetic energy, so the rotor starts developing a heat. So how much? It's of 5000 joules. Okay, so that is the situation here. So okay, next, so depending upon the size of the rotor and its cooling system, this energy could easily produce overheating. Okay, so depending on the size of the rotor, in the sense it depends upon the rating of the machine. Okay, so the sizes can be differed only with respect to the rating and its cooling system. So we know that how can we provide cooling system for induction motor? So by placing a fans. Okay, so with the help of the fan, we are going to provide some cooling so that whatever the heat developed during the running conditions, so we are going to okay, I mean bring out all those heats and all which is developed in the rotor, so that it is uh, there will be chance of some cooling. It is one of the cooling methods, so that the equipment may be protected instead of reaching the high temperatures. Okay, so if we reduce the temperatures means obviously the performance will be good. Okay, so otherwise the resistance may change according to the temperatures if they are increasing the temperature. Okay, next we will enter into the plugging in an induction motor. So before going for the another rule, so first we have one rule, so that is the heat dissipation. So let's we'll go for the another rule. Before that, we must know what is the plugging. So plugging in an induction motor. So this is the one of the speed control methods. Okay. So instead of we need to apply some methods. So how we can control the speed there. So simply we cannot put off the machine. Okay, so it's not like an our single phase machines and all. Okay, 1 second. So coming to the plugging in an induction motor, in some industrial applications, the induction motor and its load have to be brought to a quick stop. Okay, so if we consider an industrial, if we suppose to consider in case of the industries, so this induction motor we need to control some speed. So what is the technique? Let us discuss the plugging method here. So and its load have to be brought to a quick stop. So because of some issues or any other thing situation happened there, we need to immediately stop the motor. So how can we approach the method? So how we are going to implement that, we'll see. This can be done by interchanging two stator leads, so that the revolving field suddenly turns in the opposite direction to the rotor. So that is nothing but the plugging here. So here we are going to interchange two stator leads. So because if we consider the three-phase induction motor, of course it is applicable to the three-phase induction motor. Of course, it is quite different in case of the DC motors there. Any two phases. Okay, if you are going to interchange, suppose if we consider RYB sequence, if we reverse that, let us consider any two phase R and Y are going to be interchanged. So immediately it creates an revolving field which is opposite direction to the rotor. So I think if I'm recalling once again what is the rotating magnetic field, how it is developed. I mean how this rotor starts rotating there. So everything you know very well. Okay, so now we are going to create a revolving field which is opposite direction to the rotor. Okay, so earlier that is the synchronous speed, what is the direction, what is the whether it is in clockwise or anti-clockwise, we have gone through all those things. Now simply with this method. So that is the, by interchanging on two stator leads here. Okay, so it creates an revolving field which is opposite to the direction of rotor. So what happens immediately if it is in opposite direction, in the sense previously it is running in the in our I mean anti-clockwise direction there. So suddenly what happens, if because of this opposite field, it starts slowly coming back to the original position and starts in opposite direction if we continue that plugging there. Okay, so let us see the diagram here. With this we can analyze the plugging. So if we interchange R and Y here, so what happens? So this is the interchanging of stator leads. Okay, so obviously a rotating magnetic field is developed here. Of course, it is produced in earlier case also, but it is in opposite direction. So what happens? The rotor, both the powers get dissipated as a heat. So it is quite common for the normal operation also. But because of the opposite direction, what happens? The rotor starts rotating in. I mean, it slowly comes back to the steady state, and after that it rotates in opposite direction. If we keep on using this plugging there, so this is called the plugging. Okay, so that is the situation. But in this case, there are certain drawbacks. We'll discuss one by one. Okay, see here. During this plugging period, the motor acts as a brake. Brake in the sense we are going to stop the rotor. Okay, so it absorbs the kinetic energy from the revolving, from the still revolving load, causing its speed to fall. So that's what it is happening there. So because of the plugging, so look at this. Because of this plugging, so if the rotor is initially running at a rated speed there, okay, before plugging, so what happens immediately after plugging, it starts coming back to the zero state. So that means it is coming to the zero speed. After that it rotates in opposite direction if we continue the plugging, or else once it reaches the zero position, if we remove the plugging, what happens, the motor stops rotating. So that is how we are going to apply the brake. Okay, so that is how we are going to immediately stop the rotor. Okay, so I think we have seen in the machines lab how we are going to apply the brake. So in the case of the brake test on induction motor, so there we are going to slowly apply the load with the help of the weights there. Okay, so because of the because of the increase in the load, so there may be load current will be drawn, which should not be exceeded with the rated current. Okay, so and of course you can compare with the blocked rotor also. In the blocked rotor, uh, it draws the maximum amount of current. So that cases is okay for low powered machines, low rating machines. But whereas coming to the three phase induction motors, if you want to apply any brakes means, so this is the one of the best, one of the suitable methods. But the drawback is that the losses. Okay, of course, even though if we are not applying any plugging methods, so there exists the power losses either in the stator as well as in the rotor. Okay, so but this leads to additional losses, so we'll discuss. Let us see. That is how, see, during this plugging period, the motor acts as a brake. It absorbs the kinetic energy. So that means because uh, the kinetic energy is developed in order to reach the rated speed there. So whatever the energy stored in that, in that flywheel, so it is going to be absorbed there. Okay, it has to be absorbed again. It has to rotate in opposite direction. Okay, right. The associated mechanical power PM is entirely dissipated as heat in the rotor. So that is the drawback there. So whatever the mechanical power developed, so that means uh, at the rotor end. So that's I think you know that for the rotor the input is electrical, and for the rotor the output is mechanical power there. So because of this braking method, what happens, all the mechanical power developed is entirely dissipated, so in the form of heat. So that's what I mean. So we need to apply a brake. So we want to make the rotor to zero. So what about this mechanical power developed? It has to be zero. So how it is in the form of heat? So that is one of the drawback. Okay, so all the energy is going to be wasted there. Okay, next, unfortunately, the rotor also continues to receive electromagnetic power, which is denoted as PR, from the stator, which is also dissipated as heat. So here both the power losses exist, that is at the stator as well as the rotor. Okay, so because we are not performing any action there, if you want to apply a brake, so what does it mean? Simply, if we consider on our bike case also, if we consider a two-wheeler, so while if we are riding a bike, if you want to apply a brake, so whatever may be the situation, if you want to completely stop, suddenly apply, if you want to apply the brake there, so what we are going to do? So we are going to, uh, apply the brake, and we are going to stop the speed. So that is one of the braking methods. Meanwhile, what is going to happen? So obviously the fuel is consumed there. Okay, so and there may be additional losses. That means the tire may get worn out. Okay, so that is one of the drawback. The energy is lost there. We have it has consumed the fuel, but there is no work done there. Okay, so like this. So similarly, coming to the electrical side, so we have applied the brake, so there exists the stator losses as well as the rotor losses, but actually the work done is zero there. Okay, but we need to perform, so that is also mandatory here. So look at this figure. From this we can have an idea on the what is the electrical power given to the stator. It is going to develop the rotating magnetic field in the stator air gap, so which is linked with the rotor, and it produces an electrical input to the rotor. Again, from that, through the rotor, a mechanical power is developed there. So there we can consider the changes in stator, stator reactance, stator frequency. That means the losses at the stator side and the losses at the rotor side. So meanwhile, at this braking action, there may be variations in the voltage and frequency. Okay, so that should be also in our permissible range. Okay, of course, if we are riding a bike, if you want to suddenly apply the brake, means okay, fine. So if there are no changes in the sense, if our braking methods are not proper in the sense, so there may be chance of skidding of the bike. Okay, because of any discs or some other things. Okay, so likewise here also, if we need to apply properly the braking, so that the voltage frequency variation should be in our standards. Okay, it should not get deviated. Next, consequently, plugging produces or I square R losses in the rotor that even exceed those when the rotor is locked. Okay, so this is nothing but the it produces an I square R losses. So of course it is applicable before the plugging also, but it should not even exceeds the when the rotor is locked there. So when the rotor is locked, so I think you have an idea about the standstill condition and the running conditions there. In the standstill condition, what is happening? The rotor is locked there. Okay, so in that case also, so why they are highlighting this rotor is locked in the sense at s equal to 1. So that is the maximum case. Okay, so there the stator speed is equal to the rotor speed and the rotor never rotates. So that is the extreme case. So in that case also, the rotor losses will be somewhat less when compared with this plugging. So that's what it means. If you apply plugging, there may be chance of increase in I square R losses. Okay, but no need to worry about that. It is also permissible range only. With this plugging, there may be never gets any damage there. So it will be always in our permissible range only. Okay. So next, motors should not be plugged too frequently because high rotor temperatures may melt the rotor bars or overheat the stator winding. Okay, so under normal operation also the motor is having certain temperature there. Okay, so if we apply plugging frequently, means what is happening? If you are frequently, if you are applying plugging and frequently if you are applying braking, means so due to increase in losses, there may be increase in temperatures in the rotor bars. Obviously, the rotor conductors may get damaged. So that is the main drawback. We should not frequently go for this method. Okay, or we should not go for frequently for this braking. So because of the increased losses. In this regard, it is worth remembering the following rule for plugging operations for a motor, that it is not loaded mechanically. Okay, so earlier I have said you that two criteria are there, that means two rules are there. So let us see the second rule. Okay, the heat dissipated in the rotor during the plugging period is 3 times the original kinetic energy of all the revolving parts. Okay, so in the second rule they have discussed about the plugging period. So in order to know about what is plugging, so earlier I have started this. Okay, the heat dissipated in the rotor during plugging. If you want to apply braking methods, one of the method is that plugging. If you want to apply the plugging method, the dissipated in the rotor, the heat dissipated in the rotor is 3 times than the original kinetic energy of the all the revolving parts. And earlier I have said you that look at this rule 1. Just recall this rule 1. The heat dissipated in the rotor during the starting speed is equal to the final kinetic energy. So in the normal mode of operation, the heat developed, how much heat is developed in the sense until the motor reaches the rated speed. So how much energy is required, to that much amount of energy the heat is developed. Okay, so if we consider a 3300 joules of energy, here we have seen that example 5000 joules of energy, kinetic energy stored there. So 5000 joules of heat should be developed there. So the heat should be equal to the 5000 joules of kinetic energy. But in the case of, in the second case, in the second rule, what is that? Here 3 times of the kinetic energy. So the heat developed is 3 times. So this is the drawback of the plugging method. Okay, so that's why we have to prefer it rarely. Okay, so that's about the second rule. Okay, so here you can have an I have explained you the how we performed the plugging. Okay, next method we'll go for braking with direct current. So by using a DC supply, how we are going to apply the brakes for an induction motor. Okay, we'll see. So coming to the braking with direct current, an induction motor and its high inertial load can also be brought to a quick stop by circulating DC current in the stator winding. So earlier plugging method is that we have interchanged two poles. But coming to the this braking with the direct current, so that means if we apply a DC supply, if we are using a DC supply at the stator, so we are going to apply the brake. So how we will see? So because this sentence is same, high inertial load in the sense the induction motor, three-phase induction motor is connected to an high inertial load there. Okay, and we need to perform a quick stop. So the same what we have discussed in case of the plugging, the same thing we are repeating here. If you want to stop the motor, okay, so what is the method? So we can circulating DC current in the stator winding. So what is supplied to the stator winding? AC supply, three-phase AC supply, 50 hertz or 60 hertz frequency we are going to supply the machine. But we need to generate a DC here. So that is the situation. So this is also nothing but injection of EMF. So this method is also called as the injection of EMF. Okay, any two terminals can be connected to the DC source. Okay, so instead of RYB exists there, for between RY or a YB or a B or anything, any two phases if we consider, there we are going to inject the DC. Okay, so the direct current produces the stationary north south poles in the stator. Okay, so because of this DC supply, it creates a north and south poles. So I think you have an idea about the core diagram there. Okay, so RYB phases, how the north and south poles are created in case of the AC there, based upon the incoming and outgoing currents. So similar to that, if we provide an DC supply there, it creates north and south pole. How can you justify that whether it is a north pole or south pole? Based upon the current direction. Okay, if the current is entering, so it creates as a north pole. If the current is leaving there, it creates as a south pole likewise. Okay, so it creates an additional poles here. Okay, the number of poles is equal to the number of poles which the rotor develops normally. Okay, so this is nothing but the standstill current condition. It creates a standstill. Okay, so the number of poles in the stator should not be equal to the number of poles on the rotor. So earlier in the construction point of view, we have discussed that. Okay, so if these poles are equal, what happens? The deflection cannot be created in the rotor, so it gets locked there. So maximum amount of EMF is induced, and it draws a huge amount of current because high inertial loads are connected. So that is one of the drawback. Okay, of course the main thing we have to consider that the rotor stops rotating there if these poles are equal. Okay, so I think you are analyzing that. So if the poles is equal to the number of poles which the rotor develops normally. Okay, so that should not be happen. Let us consider that's a three-phase four-pole induction motor produces four DC poles, no matter how the motor terminals are connected to the DC source. Okay, for an idea, you can see the figure here. Let us consider as phase UVW or RYB. That's up to you. Okay, so here these are the three alternating sources here. So with the help of the TPST, let us consider it as a triple pole single throw switch here. Okay, and we have connected a DC source between the two phases. Okay, so with the help of this switch, we are going to connect a DC supply here between two phases. Okay, so what happens? It creates a poles will be created in the stator so that it will be equal to the rotor poles. Okay, so because of this condition, what happens? The rotor stops rotating because it comes under the locking there. The rotors, it comes under the standstill. Okay, because of the poles created in the stator. So this is the circuit diagram here, just for analysis. It is one of the methods in the variable frequency drives, VFD, which will be coming to our next semester. That okay. Next, when the rotor sweeps past the stationary field, an AC voltage is induced in the rotor bars. Okay, so what does it mean? When the rotor sweeps the past stationary field, so past stationary field in a sense, the rotating magnetic field which is already created in the stator side because of the AC supply. So earlier, before this method, so it is running in the rated speed because of this rotating magnetic field here, so which is developed in the stator because of the AC supply. Okay, now it is going to be sweep, an AC voltage is induced in the rotor bars. That is not quite normal. Okay, before subjecting this DC to the stator, so the rotor is rotating with AC supply. Already with the air, in the air gap there is an AC supply there. Okay, so this rotor already, it is under rotation. It is the EMF induced in the rotor is also AC there. Okay, so because of the earlier produced field, the voltage produces an AC current, and resulting rotor I square R losses are dissipated at the expense of the kinetic energy stored in the revolving parts. So this is also the same case earlier we have discussed in the plugging. Okay, so because of this rotating magnetic field which is created in the air gap, what happens? It is going to be injected in the, it is going to interact with the rotor conductors. Obviously the EMF is induced there, so there also there exists the I square R losses. There the current is of AC component. Okay, and it also produces the same losses. Okay, and there the kinetic energy stored. It is also running in rated speed. So before applying the DC supply here, so what happens? The rotor is producing some loss. The rotor is producing some losses. Okay, that is quite common. Okay, whatever maybe the methods we are applying. Okay. The motor finally comes to rest when all the kinetic energy has been dissipated as heat in the rotor. So when we are supplying the DC here, what happens? The poles are created. So because of the earlier electric field, earlier magnetic field, so the rotor starts rotating. It stops until the energy stored in the flywheel. So that means the earlier the kinetic energy is developed there. So that has to be dissolved. That has to be dissipated until the rotor stops rotating there. Okay, so the motor finally comes to rest when all the kinetic energy has been dissipated as heat in the rotor. Okay, so until completely when the kinetic energy is dissipated, how it is dissipated in the sense in the form of heat. Okay, again there is no action performed there. Next, so finally the advantage of DC braking is that it produces far less heat than does plugging. So when compared with the plugging method, so this DC braking has little losses. Of course, when we apply braking, additional losses will be there, but it has less when compared with the plugging method. Next point, in effect, the energy dissipated in the rotor is only equal to the original kinetic energy stored in the revolving masses, and not three times that the energy. Okay, so in case of the plugging, there we have seen that three times of losses are developed. with respect to the kinetic energy developed. But here it will be same. Okay, whatever the heat losses developed, it will be equal to the kinetic energy developed there. Okay, I mean how much of energy developed. The energy dissipated in the rotor is independent of the magnitude of the DC current. Okay, so here we are not bothered about the how much of current, but we are bothered about the poles creation. Okay, so how much of energy is required, I mean how much of DC power is required to create a poles, so that the stator poles is equal to the rotor poles, and obviously what happens, the rotor stops rotating. Okay, so there we are not depending upon the current, but we are depending on the poles creation. Okay, how many poles has to be created. However, a small DC current increases breaking time. So that is one of the advantage there. So the DC current can be 2 or 3 times the rated current of the motor. Okay, so that is the one more case here. That is we need to highlight that. Than the rated current, it will be 2 or 3 times of the DC current. But the advantage is that if you prefer a DC, the losses will be less. So that is the only advantage. Okay, so even larger values can be used, provided that the stator does not become too hot. So even if you prefer a high amount of current also, the losses will be less. Because of the less losses, the temperature also somewhat less. So that is the meaning of this. So the braking torque is proportional to the square of the DC braking current. So that's about the DC current braking or injection of EMF. So finally, with a small example, we'll conclude this session. Okay, so let us consider a 100 kilowatt machine. Okay, or motor, 60 hertz frequency, 1175 rpm. Okay, motor is coupled to a flywheel through a gearbox, or I mean it is connected to some other loads through this gearbox, and the kinetic energy of all the revolving parts is 300 kilojoules at rated speed. Okay, so the amount of kinetic energy developed is 300 kilojoules at rated speed. Okay, the motor is plugged to stop and allowed to run up to 1175 rpm in the reverse direction. So there we have applied the plugging method. Okay, so and we are allowed to run in opposite direction, the same 1175 rpm. Okay, calculate the energy dissipated in the rotor if the flywheel is the only load. So we need to calculate what is the energy dissipated. Okay, once again analyze this question. So these are the ratings, that is 100 kilowatt, 60 hertz, 1175 rpm. It is connected through a gearbox. Okay, kinetic energy developed is 300 kilojoules, and we have applied a plugging method. Okay, so what happens in the plugging method, so it has to reach the zero, and again it has to run in the reverse direction up to the speed is 1175. So we need to calculate the energy dissipated. So look at here. So during the plugging period, the motor speed drops from 1175 to 0. So that's what I mean. If you are applying a plugging from rated speed, it has to reach to 0 speed. From 0, it has to run in rated speed in reverse direction. Okay. So the heat dissipated in the rotor is 3 into 300 kilojoules. So look at here. Earlier they have given that 300 kilojoules, but in plugging method, so what is the heat developed means 3 times of the kinetic energy. So look at here. 3 into 300 kilojoules. So total heat dissipated is 900 kilojoules. Then the motor accelerates to normal speed in the reverse direction. Okay, from due to this plugging, sound 1175 to 0 it has reached, and from 0 it has to reach 1175 in opposite. Okay, so the energy dissipated in the rotor during the speed is again 300 there. So that is same there. Okay, of course it is running in rated. They have given that for rated speed the energy required is 300 kilojoules. Okay, so whatever may be the speed here, so again 300 kilojoules. So finally what is the total heat dissipated means 900 plus 300, so total 1200 kilojoules of energy is wasted here. Okay, because of this plugging method. Okay, so I mean not plugging method, because of the overall performance of the machine, I mean total heat dissipated during this process, so that is 1200 kilojoules. So hope you have understood this plugging and direct current braking in an induction motor, and remaining methods we'll see in the next session. So thank you.